look at the press review. Welcome back. I'm joined by Florence for a look at what is making headlines this morning. Good morning. We're going to begin with far-right leader Marine Le Pen. She's in the spotlight today with papers focusing on how she's a source of concern for both the left and the right.
That's right. She's on the front page of Le Figaro today that talks about her surge in opinion polls and how this is a source of concern for the left and the right. Le Figaro carried out one of these polls, and according to the people that they asked, 33% of them want her to play a significant role in the months and the years to come. So she's right behind the Interior Minister Manuel Valls and former President Nicolas Sarkozy, and she's at the same level as former Prime Minister François Fillon, former Foreign Minister Alain Juppé, and IMF leader Christine Lagarde. So this is a big deal for Le Figaro. And they say that this steady progression is being taken very seriously by both the socialists but also the opposition UMP. But in their editorial, Le Figaro says, in a way, she has them to thank for this surge because she's stealing voters from the socialists who are, these voters are fed up with the government's policies, with too many taxes, and also the government's seemingly, it doesn't seem like it's in control of much, according to this article, but it's also stealing votes from the UMP because of the internal fighting that's been going on. According to Le Figaro, some voters are fed up and going towards the far right.
Now, Le Parisien comes back on the origins of the National Front. Florence.
That's right. It takes a look at the founding fathers. Who were they? Who sparked the flame? And that's clever because, of course, the flame is the symbol of the National Front. Well, in the 1970s, Marine Le Pen's father, Jean-Marie Le Pen, he joined ranks with, people in favor of keeping Algeria part of France, neo-fascists, as well as nationalists and populists, and even a former SS officer. So Le Parisien wants to remind us that no matter how much Marine Le Pen is trying to clean up the image of the Front National, we should not forget that the roots of the National Front are in fact neo-fascist.
Now, the shutdown in the United States now is, of course, also continuing to get a lot of attention in the French press.
That's right. It's on the front page of Libération today that focuses on the Tea Party and says that they've taken America hostage and are driving the government to the brink. In their editorial, they say, we'd almost forgotten about the Tea Party since calls them constitution-thumping hysterical populists when they were elected in 2010, surfing on the back of the crisis. But they're back now, back more than ever. They've made political hostage-taking their modus operandi and are weakening the country in the name of ideology. And in its editorial, Libération really calls on Republicans to bring some order into their ranks so that the budget can be passed.
Now, the French papers have also, Florence, been having a good look at Obamacare in its first few days.
That's right. The Affordable Care Act, how is it doing since it was launched on October the 1st? Well, Le Figaro points out that it's drawn a lot of interest, but there have been a couple of false notes, beginner mistakes, if you will. A lot of the websites like healthcare.gov have been taken by storm, and so much so that a lot of them have crashed, actually. So according to the White House, this is a good sign because it means that people are really interested in Obamacare. But Republicans, as you can imagine, have a very different opinion about this. And they say that it's proof that the government isn't ready. And it's off to a bad start if it can't even keep its websites running.
Now, the French papers have also been focusing on this lynching we've been talking about in today's news bulletins, Florence. One of the men lynched by that angry mob in Madagascar, of course, was French.
That's right. It's on the front page of Le Parisien today, which talks about the story behind this triple lynching. Now, at the origin of the lynching was rumors that these men could have been involved in human organ trafficking. And so Le Parisien actually takes a closer look at the situation in Madagascar because this isn't an isolated event. And analysts interviewed in Aujourd'hui en Français that crime has in fact increased in Madagascar since President André Rajoelina seized power in a coup 4 years ago. And these kind of acts of collective violence and revenge have increased in a way because people are taking justice into their own hands. Since the country is unsafe, they feel like they have to bring justice and punish robbers, etc.
Well, we're going to be hearing more about that, Florence, within the next half hour because we'll be speaking to our correspondent in Madagascar. Finally, though, for the rest of the press, Iran getting a lot of attention, the French press, Florence. Le Figaro taking a look at the consequences consequences of the warming of those ties between Tehran and the West.
That's right. Le Figaro has an interesting article about just what's going on in Iran. It says that as there are these repeated gestures between leaders that there might be more openness, etc., well, businesses are really jumping on this occasion, actually. And a lot of companies have been sending representatives to Iran in the last couple of months because there are 80 million consumers in Iran. So this is a very lucrative market. And on top of that, it's rich in petrol and oil. Now, Le Figaro points out that the automobile market is especially targeted and says that General Motors, for instance, has renewed its contacts with its ties in Iran. And all this is at the expense of French companies like Peugeot and Renault because, they are following the rules a little bit more than General Motors, and they're really paralyzed by the sanctions against Iran. But so Le Figaro says that's too bad, but that's the way business works.
Florence Fibino, thank you very much indeed. That was the press review. In a couple of minutes, the latest headlines. Do stay with us.